Welcome to Movie Addicts, where we, Spicy, me, T-Mac, where we discuss the current movie that we just watched in the theater, which was Terminator Dark Fate. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the next movie that's coming up is Doctor Sleep, which is a Stephen King sequel to The Shining. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be
It looks like
fairly
it has
interesting. It has
good actors in it, and I don't know what the director is. But
we'll let you know all of that next week for sure. But it makes sense. I mean, I don't know how much it makes sense, but the book is good, so we'll go from there. I'm assuming the movie will be fantastic. I don't know. I'm willing to take a shot in the dark at it. All right. So, and now, with no further ado, we'll go with the screen it or stream it, which is Terminator Dark Fate. All right. So, the description for Terminator Dark Fate is, excuse me, I apologize. All right. So, Terminator Dark Fate. Sarah Connor and a hybrid cyborg human must protect a girl from a newly modified liquid Terminator from the future. Mm-hmm. All right. So, this movie stars Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mackenzie Davis, who was in
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. She's also in. Never mind, I don't remember.
There's another one.
Yeah, she was in a couple movies. Natalie Reyes and Gabriel Luna, who is the actual Terminator in this one. Mm-hmm. It was directed by Tim Miller, who did Love, Death, and Robots. Which is fantastic. If you haven't checked that out, you should run and check it out. That's a pretty solid Netflix series, legit. And then he did Deadpool.
Yeah.
So this is nothing like Deadpool. The humor's not even anywhere close, but it's
like one-liners that are funny.
So producer is James Cameron. So we all know who James Cameron is, and he also did some writing on this too. So. Nice. I really think that James Cameron has a lot on his plate, so I don't know how much he had involved in the writing of this process, but I know he's one of the executive producers, so I'm assuming the Terminator's baby. He don't want to let nothing bad happen to it. So with that, we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna start off with the pros. So you want me to list all mine first, and then you go, or okay. So. The pros, the first and foremost thing that I noticed right away is the CGI on the Rev 9 is fantastic. The whole dynamic of what that holds the whole Terminator can do is crazy. It's hard to not be amazed at what they did especially when they separated from the actual metallic part of it, and the exoskeleton and the actual outer skin of it. Sweet. That's probably my favorite thing of the entire movie is the way it counteracted, the young Arnold CGI was fantastic. So when you first see him, you go, man, that actually looks exactly like he looked in the Terminator. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, even what's her name?
Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton. Yeah. And what's his name? The little kid.
Kyle Reese. Oh yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that does look like Kyle Reese. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Gabriel Luna, I think was the star of the movie. I think that his is different. He did a couple different voices. He acted different. He had the perfect facial expression for a Terminator that's coming back. He wasn't too straight-laced and robot-y in situations where he didn't need to be, and then he was in situations where he wasn't being a character. Like
we didn't need to infiltrate. You just like, oh, I'm a robot. But when you need human interaction and you need to get your way into stuff, it's what a Terminator would do, infiltrate. Like
if you go back to the first Terminator and you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger when he comes, he's like Sarah Connor. Like he was like a robot. He seemed like a robot. The Rev 9 is not like that. The Rev 9 is adaptive. And it's fantastic the way he has a juxtaposition between a robot and actual robot and human mentality, So I thought that was cool. Like even when the first scene where he was like, oh, I'm looking for Danielle, and the dad was like, oh, You're
Friends call
her
her
friend?
Danny.
Because most of her friends would call her Danny. And he goes, yeah, Danny.
Danny.
And he just like picked it up, and it was
Yeah.
fantastic. Like you could see him process it. I thought that was fantastic. Linda Hamilton brought a bitterness from the former franchise because of what happens to her during the course of the movie, and I think that it added to it. But she also added some grind to it. Like she's like, I don't know how to explain it, but when she's on the scene, when you first meet her, it's like one of the best scenes in the movie. You meet her and you go, oh, she's badass, and you know it, and you know that she's angry, and you know why she's angry, and she's ready to take vengeance, and I appreciate that a whole bunch. So if you're a fan of the movie, it's easy for you to just cheer for her, you know.
Plus that chokeout scene where she's in cuffs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was great.
Because up to that point, like they showed her badassness, and it kind of like showed us like she's compared to the cyborg, whatever. She's like, oh, she's not, she's tough, but has not that tough. And then when she's like handcuffed and going up, and then they're like, she's a big deal. It's like, oh, we got a superstar in our midst, and then she freaking knocks out 2 freaking armed agents and chokes one out. I was like,
with her hands behind her back.
Yeah.
And then it's the lore behind her is awesome too, because she's like, I'm wanted in a couple of states, and then she's like 50 to be exact. that's awesome. The first chase scene is worth seeing this movie in the theater alone. Like that first chase scene is like, and this movie goes from 0 to 100 so fast. Like you're just sitting there, you're like, oh, where we're going with this, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we are almost there. Like you're holding the first chase scene, you're like holding on to your seats. I thought that was just a great way to start the movie. You're definitely not falling asleep early, you know.
With just the intro, like it's just I think 10 minutes in, he just pulls up and bam, shotgun. Like that's just the interlude. She's just explaining what happened, and then bow.
So that's all my pros.
Oh, okay. So yeah, actions is one of the huge biggest pros. Like if you like an action movie, this is an action movie. Yes. Like obviously it's James Cameron, so everything blows up, everything's balls to the walls. Like it's like, get out of here. That's that. Like I guess that would happen if you ran into that big, what is it? That the semi bulldozer thing.
Oh yeah.
He was just laying through fucking cars. Like it's just
so the Terminators. I love the fact that they don't take human life in consideration. They just do what the fuck they want to do when they want to do it, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so like the first few minutes, somebody's dying, and then, that's just the intro how they're explaining it, and then they're like building characters. Are like, oh, it's a lovely family, and then the Terminator show up. Oh, the Terminator and the Cyborg show up.
The Cyborg, yeah.
They show up, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's like a classic Terminator move where they come up, and then but the Cyborg, she even goes one step ahead. She's coming out of it, and it's like action, bam, and it looks dope, just like through her eyes, like how sees
the world. I like that.
I was like, oh, okay, so you're telling me she's not a cyborg, or she's... Oh, actually, I was a little confused. I was like, is she Terminator? Like, that they reprogrammed? But no. She goes to explain that she's a cyborg. And then, but you can see...
Genetically enhanced.
Yeah. And then she's, like, you can see through her eyes, so you're like, oh, you're strong. And then, by how she attacks, you're like, okay, she's very strong, and she's very smart. And then it goes from there. It builds up intensity when the Terminator and the Cyborg finally meet in the warehouse. Yeah. And you're like, oh shit, how's it gonna go down? Bam! And then it just goes. All that whole chase scene and
the whole fight scene, chase scene is fantastic.
Even the
she's super believable.
Yeah. She looks like she can fight in real life. Like I'm like, man, is she?
And he's believable.
Yeah.
And he's believable as a Terminator.
Yeah. It's just like. He's adaptive. That dude can make any weapon really, because didn't he make a gun?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh man, everything's so dope in this. The CGI mixed with their action sequences, all that like flows smoothly throughout.
Really smooth. There's only like a couple of scenes where I saw where I thought that the CGI is kind of hokey, and not even and. Don't get me wrong.
It's just based on the speed of the movement.
The speed of the movement, yeah. Like when he was hopping up into the rafter, that was cool. Yeah. And then in the airplane scene, it's just the speed of how they have to move and how they. But the rest of it is almost flawless.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes what Gemini Man wanted it. I think
Yeah,
what
what they
Gemini wanted, what they were going for. James Cameron just shows how it should be done.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And this one also just to me it's like what do you call it? It pays homage to they're going for a specific set audience, people who like the Terminator.
Okay.
Like it's what you'd expect from any Terminator movie, but just pushed up the dial. There's a lot of action, a lot of killings. Actually, he kills quite a bit of people. When I think about it, and it's just like if you like the Terminator movies, you'll definitely love this one. It just dials it up a notch with.
And it has Arnold in there. He's just legit.
Yeah, and it shows. It's just, and it goes back to his like lore, and like he's still like, even though he's like I guess a very old model, and they show you that he's still a Terminator. He still can shoot guns, is undeterred, knows the mission, and goes towards the mission.
That's a good point.
He's because of what he is.
Even though he's a Terminator, even though he's like outdated, he's still a Terminator, and he doesn't hesitate to terminate.
Yeah,
like that's a good point. I didn't think of that. That should go on my pros too, honestly.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, well, Arnold's in here. Maybe he's just gonna play a minor role.
Yeah.
And then when he feels like, oh, he's in a majority of this role. Okay.
Like when they see eye to face, and he just runs up on him and just snatches him and slams him down. I was like, oh,
yeah,
he still got it. He still got
it. Because the other one, even though she's cybernetically enhanced, she fears him. She's like, no, you only run. Yeah. And you don't care. He's just like, oh, bam.
Sarah Connor doesn't run either. Like she's like, we make a kill box.
It's like her saying, we gonna make a kill box.
She has no problem.
Find him.
That's one of the concepts in the movie. Like she just every couple of years or so, they send her coordinates and she goes and kills the Terminator.
Yeah.
She has been doing it solo for 20 years or whatever the case may be. So she didn't care. Like so, when it didn't matter if it was the new model or whatever. She was ready to take whatever jumped out of the bubble. Yeah. She was going for it.
Yeah. And then like a little bit of the humor, like. It had enough sprinkled in that you're like, oh, it just killed tension, and it's easier to transition to the next scene or whatever they're gonna do. Yeah. And then actually Arnold like made more than what I thought was gonna be its like weakness is made the movie to me too. It's funny. He was there when you needed to.
He was serious when you needed to.
When you needed to, and yeah, he's always gonna be the star of that franchise no matter what. And they made it clear in that at the end. So
and everything he did was thought out for the most part. Like he wasn't the nonsensical part of the movie.
But yeah, those are my pros.
Okay, so let's go to the cons because I have a few. Not
much, but
not nothing where I thought it blemished the film too much. So I'm gonna start off. I had it written down last, but I really think that, as we all know, that this has been a flop for a blockbuster. And I just think that people are tired of the Terminator franchise. With that being said, this movie is fantastic to me. Like when I sat there and watched it, I wasn't watching as a fanboy perspective. I was watching so I can come back here and go, hey guys, this movie was kind of whack. Like you don't really need to go see it. I kept seeing reports, $29 million over the weekend. Like it still came in number one over the weekend, but when I watched the movie, I was like, it kept me enthralled throughout the entire movie. So it wasn't like it's lame by any means. So I think it's just lost its luster. Like, you do 20 years of a franchise and you got 8 different movies out. People just get tired of seeing it. And that's the bigger of the two issues. People don't have time to be just wasting on a franchise where you think that you know everything. And this doesn't vary very much from the Terminator as a whole. It's kind of exactly like the first one, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah, it's essentially a reboot, I guess. But
reboot of a reboot of a reboot.
Yeah.
So my downside of it is halfway through the movie we get nonsensical. We start doing things that don't really make sense. So the first half of the movie you're like, this is badass. I get it why she's back. I get it why he's back. I understand what they need to do. They need to go find this guy. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
done.
Run,
we're like, get away from Terminator. Yeah. We're gonna try to figure out how we're gonna take this guy out. And then we get into some weird situations with ice and we're on a C5 for some reason, and we jump out of a helicopter. We jumped out to C5 with the Humvee with a parachute at the dam, and almost died. It didn't make sense that we even had to have the Humvee at the time because we're off course, and then all of a sudden we just ruined that, and then they're underwater. It was. So the first half of the movie is fantastic. The second half is not as fantastic as the first half as far as the writing. The scenes are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
The
scenes,
the final fight,
the final fight, the fights, the fight on the airplane. All of these scenes are great. What's not great is the actual story writing. Like there's a part where he breaks into in Mexico City.
Oh, ICE detention center?
Yeah, no, not the ICE detention center, but he breaks into like their computer, where they have all their computer server, their mainframe. They have all their servers, and they're trying. He's like looking up, and he gets a picture of the girl he's looking for, which he technically shouldn't have that picture. So,
but he's seen her already by that point.
Yeah, but he had the exact picture of her getting on top on the train. So I was like, that don't make sense.
Yeah, they were in a rural town. I
was like, rural town. Like it wasn't like a shot from a satellite. It was just a picture where there would be no cameras, which is why they went there in the first place.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he infiltrates a UAV center where he finds the unmanned aerial vehicle, and then he finds them. Now that made sense. Yeah. Now if you were looking for somebody and you did that would make sense. So we went from a part where he was looking for them and he found them, and that made no sense to actually use that part and then to go to the one part. If you just cut, you can use, that's 10 minutes of a movie that you could cut out and you could actually put it to use somewhere else with better writing. In my personal opinion, I've never written a movie, so I don't know how hard it is, but it's just something that I saw.
Yeah.
You know, like the UAV thing tied everything together. It was a perfect way to go, and there was no need for the other scene. So,
yeah, I thought that was just a little bit of a lazy writing. I was like, how are we gonna make him find him? Oh, just go to Mexico's mainframe and look
up all the
Mexico.
Yeah,
like I guess he's a computer to look at every single stoplight or every single security camera of Mexico. I'm not saying that Mexico is diluted from.
And let's not forget, it wasn't like he was looking at all the streetlights and found them on the streets. He found them in the rural town, which made no sense. If he just saw, they were heading this direction, blah blah blah, that would have been okay.
And he pinpointed where they were going.
Exactly.
I was like,
from there,
what?
Yeah, like how did he know that they were going to Laredo? Like that was another thing. I was like, that don't make no sense.
I was like, how does he know that train's going through there, but it stops on like?
It could end up in Michigan. He doesn't really know, you know. Like so, that was my other thing.
That was funny.
Mackenzie Davis, I thought she was fantastic for them.
Man, she's banging too.
So my problem with her is that she's stiff, and she doesn't have to be because she's not Terminator. You know, like she's enhanced, but her character is stiff. So she's basically like the Arnold, and she's the stiff one, and Gabriel Luna is the opposite of the character. So I don't know if that was intentional, but it definitely was noticeable. I didn't hate her in it. I just thought that she was. I don't know if it was supposed to. Like I said, I don't know if it was just supposed to be like that, or if I
feel like in the end she got better because she had to tell her story arc.
Yeah.
So she did better acting there.
The other part is they tried to swerve you, and I'm not going to get into the gist of it. If you want to see it, you want to see it. This is mass spoiler, and I'm not going to do that. But so they want you to believe one thing, and then they spend a lot of time stacking on these layers to the story, and they just automatically make you assume one thing, and then you're like, that don't make sense. I think that this isn't like this would be a better story, and then that's what they did, and I was like, oh, well, see,
yeah,
I was right.
It panned out.
Like at first, I was like, oh, they keep stacking, they keep making me go this route in my head, and then I'm like, no, I was right from the minute that you. I was like, I figured it out like way early in the movie. I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. So
the thing that knocked me off is when he's just like, what? No, he's like, not where are you? Not who are you? When are you from? Yeah. And then he gives the date, and I was like, well, this is present day. Like, those timelines didn't like line up to me. Like,
yeah,
it's like, so you're like, what, 9 years in the future?
Yeah.
Like I was like, I guess, like I don't know. Those didn't line up to me in my head, and I was like, there must be something else that I'm missing. But yeah, as the story progressed, I'm like, oh yeah, well, makes sense now.
And my last and final criticism of the movie is, if you watch any Terminator, it doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, like once they do what they do, it doesn't even matter. Like you've spent, this is what 8, 9, 10 movies. You're like, okay, cool, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, this is the way we're going to get out of that, and none of that matters anymore. Everything that you watch doesn't matter, and so I think that you kind of dish your own franchise by doing I wouldn't say lazy, but it's an easy reset. You know, like when you go from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, like it's not hard to do. I mean, it was hard to do. Like you had to make sense of it and everything like that. Then you got into the salvation and I mean, none of that matters though. At the end of the day, when you finish this movie, none of that matters. So this could be a great standalone movie, and you didn't need to watch none of those other ones. And I have a problem with that because I've watched them all.
Yeah, so literally, you come in here and just and have no point of reference and watch it, and you're like, okay, he was important, but not anymore. This is the future. Reset. Like, gotcha. All right. Well.
And that's at the end of the day, that's my problem with it because. I mean, we've spent years, decades, building Arnold Schwarzenegger up as this one character, and it was fantastic to watch. And then all of a sudden, he still was that guy, but he wasn't that guy.
He wasn't that guy.
So
he was the same robot, but I guess a different model. I don't know. Like he wasn't the one that built up that the relationship with what's his name, the kid.
Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't build up that relationship. But
John Connor.
But he was a Terminator that built up a relationship with another boy.
Yeah.
I feel like all you need is a boy to build a relationship with a Terminator, and you'll turn him good. That's all I got from it. That's it, because he found another boy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, true. My thing is just the story. It's like, what do you call it? Those ad libs.
Yeah.
And then it's like, this is a Terminator story. Just erase main character, switch it out. And it's the same one. And then they're like, and a great explosion happened. No, it's just Legion this time. Like, it's just, you can erase certain characters. The one you can't erase is obviously Arnold. He's always going to be in it. But
that's actually a good take. I can see that.
You rewrite it, and, different year and a different time. He only came back once this time. Like, it's the story. It's the same story. And obviously, because it's the same story, it still has like little far-fetched lines and little stuff that's I'm like, I guess. Like, yeah. It's just
there's a scene where not spoiling it, but it's fantastic. So there's a scene where he's flying in the airplane, the Rev 9, and he just punches the window out of the airplane and starts shooting at them flying a jet. Like it just makes it's just absurd. I enjoyed it. It's just absurd though.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know how science works, and I'm sure it's a Terminator movie.
Science works. It sucks him right out of the cockpit. That's how science works.
But he's a Terminator. He's got super strength.
Or he died. Well, he doesn't. He wasn't die because he's not human. But
he fell. He fell actually from that time, so he would have survived it. But yeah, it's just like little small things. I'm like, you're gonna die under that water. And then when they're underwater in a Humvee, and like I was like, man, this should fill up with water like that. And then she taking their time, telling her life story, and then you're gonna shoot.
Especially when she shoots the window.
I don't think that's like. I don't know if the exact physics of guns working underwater, or how fast they travel, but like that thing went and dented a Terminator right in the head. Yeah. And I was like, okay, and he's like, we're gonna tangle it up with the backpack and
parachute.
Boom, parachute, yeah. And they do tangle that thing up. Some kind of, I don't know.
And then he disappears.
Yeah.
Where does he go?
That gives them enough time to climb back a dam.
They swim to shore. They're trying to break in. Like,
I really don't think a parachute would deter a Terminator. Like, it would just stay there and shoot through it or cut through it. He's got blades for hands.
Yeah.
Like,
he's literally with those hands.
But and then just like and then they.
What did you think about the main character girl?
The Spanish one?
Yeah, Natalie Reyes.
Yeah, actually, she was actually pretty solid. You can see her character arc. I like that she's like kind of.
I'm really mad on her as the whole character.
Oh,
the whole character.
At the end, she becomes a badass.
Super mad. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought she had good character development.
The only part I actually even liked her in is the part where she goes to check on the girl and she's like, "I'm not gonna let her die again." And like that after, besides that, man.
I don't know. Like I don't think she's believable as someone that leads a whole army of resistance. I was like, I guess she's got the fortitude, but she doesn't have any training. I don't know who trains her. I guess now, what's her name?
Yeah, Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor trains her, and
who is a total badass. I don't have to reiterate. I like her.
Yeah, but
her I'll Be Back scene is classic.
Yeah, forget. Yeah. And then when they steal her car, son of a bitch. Yeah, but yeah, like just
so the story.
It's just the story. Like some things are like I guess I should expect it, but like as I'm watching, I'm like, wait, what? But so it took me out of it for a bit. But then you just focus on the action. You're like, this is pretty badass though. The action just carries you through it.
The action carries this movie. Which I'm not opposed to sitting in a movie like this for the action.
Yeah, because I'm not bored at any time.
I can sit through dry movies as long as the story is coherent.
Yeah.
And this was a little of both.
Yeah, but other than that, I really didn't have any really bad comments about this thing.
It's time to go through how we thought. So is it a screen it or seen it for you? A screen it or stream it, excuse me.
I think I can stream this. I don't. I like it in the theaters, but I think
You don't think it? I mean, this is your opinion, so I can't.
It's just like if somebody asks me to watch it again, I'm like, no, it's really good, but I already watched it.
So we've been doing this only for like 4 or 5 times. Like this is only like our 5th or 6th movie review. I can't remember. Yeah. And this is the same guy who went to Hustlers and he gave it the.
It's more of a comedy. I like to laugh. This one I was like, wow, cool. It's like seeing fireworks. I'm like, you're like, oh wow, cool. But you think at the end of the day they're just lights, like.
So I'm gonna go screen it, and it's strictly based off of the action and the CGI. I feel like you need to see that with the sound in the theater. Like I think it adds to it. It definitely wasn't for the story though. Like I understand his knock on it, and I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, I'm just more wow that he did for Hustlers than I am this.
But like don't get me wrong, I feel like Terminator, I feel like Arnold, he carries this a little bit. And you like action, this is definitely for you, like especially if you really love action.
Yeah, if you like
I feel
action.
Like anything like Commando, anything of Arnold movies really that have a bunch of action is
right up your alley.
Yeah, you'll definitely like this.
Alright, so now it's time for our next segment, which is the Bring It Back segment. Mm-hmm. And it's only fair that we do the Terminator as the Bring It Back movie. And we discussed that we're going to do 1 or 2 because they both have ties to this exact this movie. And I think I convinced them to go with 1. And I think the original Terminator has the parallel of the leadership. And then you go back and this movie tries to swerve you and go, this is this. And we automatically know that the Terminator's after Sarah Connor, and we know why he's after. Actually, we don't know why he's after Sarah Connor at first, and we find out as we go. Because once we get to Kyle Reese, and he's like, "Oh, well, you're going to be you're the mother of the leader of the free world," and so I think this has a lot of parallels to that and a lot of similarities to that first one. So, and from once again, like there's some great epic movie scenes, like action scenes in there, with like the police station, like how he gets his clothes and motorcycle. That's great.
Yeah,
the police station scene is second to none. I'll be back. Just drives in there, just shoots up the place. So I
same thing with this one when they go to the detention center. It's like he's in there.
Yeah. So it has a lot of like similarities. The humor's really on point. The characters are pretty much like a lot of the characters are similar.
Even Sarah Connor and her are similar in the aspect like they don't know, have no training, they don't know what's going on at first, and then at the end they build enough of like bravado to like carry it to the next film, or like they're gonna like I'm assuming this role.
I mean, like Sarah Connor is her Kyle Reese. Like it's the way it works out. It's just kind of so that's why I feel like that. So if you haven't seen the original Terminator, then you should watch the original Terminator before you watch this one. You should watch the first 2, and then you'll see the similarities in both because there's parallels in both of them, and you can see where they drew oh, we could take this part.
Yeah.
And then this would be, if people that watch this franchise would get it.
The boy humanizes him. Oh, humanizes him again.
Yeah.
It's just, he's always learning.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, I guess that pays off if you actually watch them.
Yeah.
Because the Terminator is always meant to be always learning, always adapting.
Yeah.
Even though he's an older model. Except that the new ones do it twice as fast and have twice as much resistance and stuff like that.
God, that scene where he's in that truck and he peels off and half of him stays there. God, it's fantastic. I'm telling you, you gotta see it in the theater. So with that being said, thank you for watching us. We appreciate it.
Like,
subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell that. We're still working on new equipment, so we got that coming. It's just gonna take us a little bit.
Yeah, this one took a little longer to post or to have going, just because I don't know, there was not movies coming out.
There's nothing really that we.
I guess we should have checked Netflix or I don't think.
But Dolomite came out that I want to check out, and I'll probably do. If we watch that, I want to do a review on that.
I just saw it was it Tuesday? No, I didn't see it, but I saw that it was on Netflix.
Okay.
And I was surprised. I thought we were gonna watch that in theaters.
Let's watch this weekend and do a review of it.
Yeah, sounds
next week. So, with that being said, this is the end of the program, and thank you for watching us. And remember, this show is rated MA for movie addicts.
Check us out.